Hey everybody, it is Rachel Rajala, your realtor out of Northern Virginia with Remax Allegiance. I hope you all are doing well. I am going to talk about today the real estate market. Surprise, surprise. But taking a look over 2020, what has happened so far? What a year it has been. Who would have ever predicted this? But we're going to take a look at what has happened, what is predicted to happen as far as the economy and recovery, and talk about some things, some questions that people have had, as well as some really great things happening in the market, like affordability. So I look forward to spending the next several minutes with you. I hope you find this very informative and helpful. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to continue to get market updates like these and other helpful real estate market information. And like my Facebook page, Homes with Rachel Rojala. And as always, reach out to me at rachel@homeswithrachel.com if you have any individual questions. Happy to address those for you. So let's get started here. This first slide here is showing the showing traffic, and the data is pulled from ShowingTime, which is a application that all realtors use to schedule their showings. And this data has been taken from across North America, so it's a very wide view of what was going on. And the beginning of the year started out very strong, lots of showings. Of course, the COVID hit and we took that dive during quarantine. People literally couldn't leave their houses, so no surprise there. But as soon as they could start going back out, they did. I mean, look at this. You know, folks were out here week over week. They are really jumped those showings up quite a bit throughout the whole summer. So I'm going to come back to this slide in a little bit, but just remember that it's relative to showings and a very positive sign that after that dip, popped right back up. Purchase applications. So I want to show you this slide because I think it's an interesting interesting look at how it's broken down week over week. And we'll look at year over year too, and I'll show you the difference there. And but this is just week over week. So mid March-ish, we had that positive number, and then of course the drop during the quarantine time, and then popping back up, very positive during the summer. And then the last few months, though, you see this little percent up, percent down, just kind of leveling out a bit. So that's where we're looking with purchase applications. But we take this look at year over year here, and you can see it started out strong. Again, the nosedive, and then the summer months, really positive numbers here, higher than in March. So I think that's just showing how all that pent-up demand was getting satisfied during the summer. And newly pending deals, same way of looking at it here. First starting with the week over week, positive start, the drop, and then throughout the summer, very strong numbers. And the last few months, again, little up and down, leveling out a bit. And this just suggests, I believe, that that demand was somewhat satisfied over the summer. Doesn't mean that the market has slowed down a whole lot. I mean, it certainly has, but if we look at it year over year, pending sales were up 16.5%. So really, it's a super strong market still. And I think a good analogy is if you were speeding down the road in a race car going 90 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden you see a speed limit sign or a police officer and you slam on the brakes, and now you're going 60 miles an hour like you were supposed to in the first place, and it feels like you really slowed down, but you're still going 60 miles an hour. You are going a good speed. It's there's nothing slow about that. However, since you were just going 90, it feels like it. And that's kind of, I think, what we're experiencing here is we just had that just burst during the summer when people are finally allowed to get out and able to, and so many things have changed with our housing needs now, and what we're realizing what our wants and needs are. So, there are those that will be working virtually from now on, probably. Their businesses have realized that they don't need to come into an office. So many have that opportunity to move where they would like to in the country, or maybe they want to get out of the city and have that nice big yard or the pool, or maybe they need that home office or that room for the kids to do virtual schooling, whatever it may be. Everybody's been home a lot more than they ever have been, and their wants and needs are changing, and it's really driving a buyer's market. In addition, excuse me, a seller's market, but the buyers are really coming out because they want to take advantage of these rates too. Amazingly low rates this year. So this just shows the year-over-year pinned difference in deals, as you see, quite high year-over-year. Home buyer traffic jumped again in July, recording 60.7 year-over-year increase in nationwide showing activity, according to data from Showing Time. And this, as you see, is broken out. The Northeast, obviously the strongest, but all across the regions are really strong showing activities. Danielle Hale, the chief economist at Realtor.com, was quoted saying total inventory was down 38%. Buyers continue to be motivated by the low mortgage rates and strong desire for the certainty of ownership in an uncertain world. They're quickly putting in offers on homes that come up for sale, driving the overall number of homes for sale even lower. And here is a projection on future home prices, which I think is very, it's very interesting, of course, but this is a question. When this pandemic hit, I had a lot of investors and other buyers, questioning what's going to happen with the home prices. Should I hold out and wait for these foreclosures to flood the market? What's going to go on there? And here we have pretty much everyone except for we have Halsey with the -1, but everybody else is predicting that overwhelmingly we're going to see a good amount of appreciation in the next 12 months. So Fannie Mae went from saying that when the pandemic first came, they forecasted to see 0.4% increase on future home prices. Zillow is in the negative, and CoreLogic even more so with a -6.6. They all have come up and recanted their projections there for the next 12 months. On an aggregated level, the housing economy remains rock solid despite the shock and all of the pandemic. And this is the president and CEO of CoreLogic's statement, but just amazing to me. And it's really good news. During a pandemic, here we are. The housing economy remains rock solid. So that's just great for the health of the housing market. And where we stand with prices and appreciation going forward. All of that's being fueled by people saying we need a home, and there are different reasons they need one. They, like I said, are more motivated today to go out and buy, and it's all being fueled by those low interest rates. Now, this is a big question. I alluded to foreclosures a little earlier. Or where the prices were going to go if people go into foreclosures. So this is the number of active forbearance is leveling off, as you see here, which is very good news. And people are able to extend these forbearances if they still need it. So some are coming off, but we're going to continue to watch it, and some will be extending, I'm sure. But the question really is what's going to happen with those homes and those people that are coming out of forbearance? And that's the big question. Senior mortgage reporter at Bankrate says the COVID-19 pandemic will lead to a rise in mortgage defaults and foreclosures. But as the housing market muscles through this economic downturn, it looks as if foreclosures will form a trickle rather than a flood, housing experts say. A trickle rather than a flood. So that's great news, and it's also I've talked about this before. I don't know if you've heard, but the equity that people have in their homes right now is really significant, and that provides them with a lot of options. And we're seeing that, so if we start trickling rather than a flood, it's very different from that 2008 scenario where people didn't have that equity in their home. That was the problem. They owed more than their home was worth, so they just decided to walk away in many cases. And we saw a flood of foreclosures. And here he's calling it a trickle rather than a flood. And he also mentions that there will be a rise in the foreclosures. So let's address that. And why is that? Well, simple answer is that the percent of distressed properties is at an all-time low right now. Look at that. And we knew coming into the health crisis, we were in low numbers of distressed sales, and we're even lower now. And that is because there is a moratorium on starting the foreclosure process. So, whether it's judicial, non-judicial proceedings, they cannot start as people extend their forbearance, and that moratorium will get extended. So as people come off of their forbearance, come off the forbearance, no doubt there's going to be people moving into foreclosure. Some will have to, unfortunately, and we'll see how that plays out. But again, going back to that quote we just read, predictions that it's not going to be a flood, it's going to be a trickle, because the options that the homeowners do have with all the equity and strength of equity across the country that they have in their homes. So this quote here from Black Knight is, those shopping for a home can afford 10% more home than they could 1 year ago, while keeping their monthly payment unchanged. That's phenomenal. This translates into nearly $32,000 more buying power. So of course, it's very interesting. 32,000 across the country, that's unreal. I know it means more to some areas than others, but in all, that's a really big number to be able to have that difference there. And here we have the chief economist, Doug Duncan at Fannie Mae. We believe housing will continue to be a sector with relative strength amid the larger downturn. The recently observed increase in purchase demand is largely due to pent-up demand, as we were talking about, as buyers are acting now after delaying purchases in the spring. We are, however, seeing some early signs of shifting buyer preference to locate to lower density areas, potentially driving some additional purchase activity. So again, the wants and needs of buyers have changed a bit. And a prediction here, going through 2021, the existing home sales projected just keeps ramping up here. Of course, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out, and we'll keep an eye on it, but the numbers are looking really positive for the housing market. So I hope you found that informative. Please reach out to me, Rachel at homeswithrachel.com. If you have any questions or thinking of making a purchase, selling, whatever it may be, it is we need that supply right now on the market, but on the flip side, this is such a unique time. Buyers and sellers are in such nice positions right now. The sellers obviously are very much needed on the market because that supply is so low. So they are seeing phenomenal results when they put their home for sale and getting great prices for that. On the buyer's side, it can be a little tricky with depending on your area as far as competition in getting your offer through. However, those rates are just can't be beat right now. So it's very positive. And like we were looking at the week over week, we've leveled out a little bit there. So even though it's really hot still, and we are still in our Northern Virginia area seeing lots of multiple offers on places, um, might have a little bit more opportunity there for buyers to win out their contracts. And of course, you just need that great agent to be able to get your contract won. So don't forget to reach out to me again if you have any questions at all. Thanks a lot, and you all take care. Be safe.